Hi guys, hope you guys are all doing well. um, for my presentation, I decided to do Gender Identity and Lexical Variation in Social Media by Bauman, Eisenstein, and Schnobelen. I've been trying to say that word for a few days now. Can't do it. So, the questions asked by this article are, does gender change language, or does language change gender, and how? Obviously, there's theories about how, but this article really wants to go into how, and which one is it really? And the other question is, how has social media changed the gender binary linguistically, if at all? So, like, is it more feminine, more masculine, and has it become more ambiguous? They don't know. That's why the study was made. So, some background of the study. Uh, Gender in sociolinguistics, gender in general, viewed by sociolinguists, is constructed, maintained, and disrupted by linguistic practices, which in turn shape language. However, this view has mainly been done in smaller scale qualitative studies. This study is much bigger, and they wanted to see if that still held up to this. Computational studies is what this one is. Um, Studies through scientific means of looking at data, so they just put it into a computer and say what's here. Contemporary literature puts women and men on dimensions of informativeness and involvement, um, based on what previous studies said these genres were. This study in particular, one by Bauman, Eisenstein, and Schnobelen, they didn't do this. They didn't base their study off of previous research. Well, they did, but not the way that these people that other contemporary literature has. Um, because I couldn't find the exact quote. I looked everywhere in my article. I could not find it. However, basically, to paraphrase, it said similar studies garner similar results. They wanted to get different results and see if those previous results were true. So they didn't do this, but it's important to know that other people do. At this time in 2014, I think is when this article was put up. So to go more in depth on involvement versus information, sorry if I'm going fast, feel free to pause and read the entire slide. um, Involvement is linguistic resources to create interactions between the speakers and the audience. So, like me, I use first person pronouns and I directly reference you, which is a second person pronoun, present tense verbs, contractions. It's a very personal kind of feel, you know? And information, obviously, is less personal, more information based, obviously. Um, and previous studies showed women are more associated with involvement, interaction, while men more associated with informational word classes. So I think an interesting thing to do would to be go to previous uh, presentations we've had, think back on them, think of how the females in our class have presented their articles, how they've spoken, versus how the guys in our class have spoken and presented their articles. See if you see that difference, um, because obviously it might have changed since this article was made 6 years ago. This is just some statistics for Twitter, because this article uses Twitter. I'm not going to go over everything, but feel free to pause uh, and look through that. That's just for their baseline of who is on Twitter before they do this uh, study. And now onto the data. So about the study, it uses Twitter, a novel corpus of 14,000 users. It's a computational study of gender and lexical choices in social networks. But within that, they have two limitations because obviously Twitter is huge. It's a social media monster. So obviously they want to make it a little more. They want to narrow it down so they know what they're looking at and they can look at it clearly.